Nigerian schoolboys released following abduction, Somalia cuts diplomatic ties with Kenya, and happy corals in East Africa.
Hello, this is Imahn Robertson, and for all those curious about what's been happening from the African continent, stay tuned for this week's Roundup.
Starting in Nigeria, where hundreds of schoolboys who were kidnapped last week from a boarding school in northwestern Nigeria have been released, according to local authorities in the state of Katsina. The Islamist militant group Boko Haram claimed responsibility for the abduction. In an audio message from a man identifying himself as the leader of Nigeria's Boko Haram, said they were responsible for the kidnapping as an attack against Western education. The state governor Aminu Bello Masari was quoted by Reuters news agency saying, "We have recovered most of the boys, it's not all of them." His spokesman said 344 had been freed and were all in good condition. However, other reports suggest some remain in the hands of their captors. Whilst it still remains unclear how the boys' release came about, they were found in a forest in the neighbouring Zamfara state. Somalia severed diplomatic ties with Kenya on Tuesday, accusing the neighbouring East African nation of meddling in its internal political affairs weeks before a crucial general election. The Minister of Information said Somalia was breaking off relations because Kenya had violated his country's sovereignty. In a televised announcement, Minister Osman Dube said Somalia would recall all its diplomats from Kenya and gave Kenyan diplomats 7 days to leave the country. The announcement by Somalia came as the president of the self-declared region of Somaliland arrived in Kenya for a 3-day state visit. Uganda authorities have reportedly dropped charges against Nigerian artists Omale and Thames, who were arrested after being charged with disobeying COVID-19 guidelines for performing at a concert. Presidential candidate Bobi Wine said on Twitter that his lawyers joined in representing the artists charged and that he was delighted to see the illegal and unfair charges dropped. Among the prominent voices who called for release of the musicians was Grammy-nominated artist Burna Boy. And how about this for a discovery? A climate crisis sanctuary for coral reefs has been found by scientists off the coast of Kenya and Tanzania, where species such as spinner dolphins and rare fish are thriving. The study shows that this area, which is a cool spot in the ocean, could become an incredibly important sanctuary that marine species will flock to for protection from climate change. And lastly, things get futuristic. Following on from a BBC feature that inspired Disney to collaborate with a Nigerian-Ugandan animation studio, Kugali. The African sci-fi series called Iwaju will debut globally in 2022. The comic book collection they came up with was born out of a desire to tell modern African stories, highlighting a diversity of cultures, history, and voices across the continent.
And that's it from me. For all the latest information on the continent, go to bbc.com/Africa.